So Matthew's recording and I'm silencing.
So
Hansa, greetings.
it's
All right.
there's a line that goes through my head a lot. There's poets who I pick mantras up from, and Thoreau is one of those. Even though he's wrote prose, he's a poet. And this is from his classic Walden Pond. We must learn to awaken and to keep ourselves awake by an infinite expectation of the dawn, which does not forsake us, not even in our soundest sleep. Why should we be in such a hurry and waste of life? We are determined to be starved before we even know we're hungry. I wish to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life. I wish to learn what life has to teach and not, when I come to die, discover that I have not lived. I do not want to live what is not life, because living is so dear. Nor do I wish to practice resignation, unless it is quite necessary. For we are encouraged that a person can elevate their lives by their own conscious endeavor. It is something to be able to paint a picture or to carve a statue, and so to make a few objects beautiful. It is far more glorious to carve and paint the very atmosphere and medium through which we look, which morally we can do. To affect the quality of the day, that is the highest of arts. It's the task of everyone to make their lives, even in its detail, worthy of the contemplation of their most elevated and critical hour. And I love that, to be awake, to slow down, to live deliberately, consciously, awake and aware. And one of the things that our mentor, Father Kennedy's mentor, who was a Jewish rabbi as well as a Roshi, said he did use the whole image of being a cook. And cook is the number 2 position in a Zen monastery. And the thing that a cook does is take the ingredients and make the most splendid meal they can to offer to the other monks. I love that, this splendid meal. And that goes on to be a metaphor for your life, to take whatever ingredients come your way and to make it into the most splendid meal. My life is a meal that I'm offering to everyone else, taking those ingredients and giving that nourishment back. Another kind of model of being in that reciprocity of receiving and giving back what we have. And that's kind of apropos of where we started last week, was the quote from Alan Watts on gratitude. And he says, gratitude happens in those moments of fulfillment where you know that we already have everything we need. I'm just going to remind us of a few things that we've hit in our teachings recently. One of the yamas and niyamas, and Hansa will know this, is santosha, the practice of contentment. If we never are content with the moment that we pass through, that's what we're going to be talking about, then we're never satisfied. And so this is what the teachers are pointing us to, is to say, when is enough enough? But not just say that, but to feel that sense of fulfillment. And Watts said that the universe doesn't speak language. The universe speaks resonances. And that when we hit that feeling of fulfillment, that feeling of contentment, that's a moment of abundance, when the whole, instead of the glass being half empty or half full, it's totally full. There's no more desire So what we've been flirting with, and we're coming around to today, is that fundamental division. There are three states that the nervous system hits very early on, and we talked about this when we talked about um, uh, now I've forgotten the name of that layer underneath the words, not prana, something, something else. Anyhow, this layer of that is between awareness of the body and the thoughts and the emotions, where you actually feel the tone, the physical tone of your life. And here's where desire emerges, and here's where resistance emerges. So we talked about the itch and not scratching the itch. Today we're going to talk about having the desire, but not acting on the desires. So I've taken another quote from Alan Watts, if I can find my phone.
Okay, I thought you brought it out here. You want me to go look for it?
Yeah,
Okay.
and maybe, it's on the charger in the kitchen.
Okay.
So I apologize for that. So talk amongst yourselves while you're silent.
So I really liked that poem,
The
what you just
Thoreau,
read, what
yeah,
you just read.
it was a put together stuff from Thoreau. So I'll try and get that out to people during the week.
Bart, I just had an epiphany when you said the glass is either neither half full or half empty. I mean, the whole thing is that who decides what size the glass is?
Precise,
I
precise.
mean, it like you said, it's always full. You just change the size of the glass. It,
Exactly. And that again is your expectation, right, Bruce?
exactly
So
right. Your expectation is the size of the glass, and so if you can think about that when you're thinking, oh, is my glass half full or half empty? You just go, oh well, I have a full glass. I'm just thinking too much. I'm trying to get too much in it.
there you go. I
go.
love that.
Ah,
Okay, so let me see if I can. Oh, goodness.
okay, what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to find this.
Ah.
Okay.
You got
Oh, of course it switches off of it.
Mmm.
Had everything all set up. I'm sorry.
While we're waiting, a quick question to Robert Trudeau. Are you related to Richard Trudeau?
You're muted, Robert, so we can get a thumbs up or down or okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ha 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 ha.
I am so sorry.
Wish
I mean, don't apologize. His breather's awfully nice. You know, here we all are and we're all together and we all come seeking the same out of different reasons. And it's nice just to sit here. So we could just sit here and be quiet for an hour.
I wanted to mention something of a woman I know who works in human services in Tennessee said that there's a place for homeless people to come, of course, during the day. And the sign over the entrance says, "The power of an ordinary day."
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Absolutely.
mm.
And someone made the impression says, when you walk by a group of people who are totally quiet, group of 30 people who are being totally quiet, you know immediately what they're doing.
Nothing.
No, they're communing, they're meditating
Okay.
in silence and joined together in silence, whether it's in prayer or whether it's in meditation. It's a rare event, but you feel it. You really feel it. So Alan Watts spent his life translating Eastern philosophy for Western minds. His most repeated teaching was also his most resisted. Most people hear it and agree immediately, but almost none actually apply it. And here's the teaching and why it's harder than it sounds. Watts said the reason most people never get what they want is that they don't actually want it. They want the wanting of it. Okay, so here's the distinction. Is that the wanting of something attaches to an object, but over time, the actual wanting becomes more important than the thing that's wanted. The desire itself has become the point. The reaching of it has become the habit. And if the thing arrived, the desire would have to end, which is more confronting than not having the thing. You can feel this when you get honest. Take the goal you've been working on for years. Imagine it fully arrived tomorrow, permanent, undeniable, completely yours. And then notice what happens to your body. That's why we're talking to this level, this second level of awareness. For most people, there's a moment of quiet discomfort under the imagined relief. That discomfort is the attachment to the desire and the loss of the desire rather than the thing desired. Watts was not saying stop wanting things. He was saying notice whether you are wanting the thing or whether you're simply wanting to stay in desire. Wanting the thing has a completion point that the subconscious mind can build towards. Here where we are, we're in the future. We're not in the present. Desire is in the future. Wanting the wanting has no completion point. There's no point where you say enough. Wanting becomes an end in itself. It's an addiction. It just keeps you reaching indefinitely with no arrival ever built into the signal. The way through is to let the desire complete in your imagination. Let yourself have fully the feeling of it. Feel it in your body, not as a visualization practice, but feeling a genuine arrival. And then feel the then what. And here's where you begin to see the thing when we talk, the Buddhists talk about becoming comfortable with discomfort. There's that discomfort that underlies our existence when we strip away all the doing, whether it's the resistance of what's unpleasant or clinging to what's pleasant, then comes that uncomfortableness that we need to learn to reside in, okay? What follows the desire of completion is very much worth knowing. Watts also said that wanting is a form of pushing away. The frequency of I want this also contains within it, I don't have this. And the subconscious responds to that feeling and not to the object itself.
The backwards.
The backwards law, which I'm going to read next. If wanting broadcasts not having, the instruction being received is then not having. And this is the paradox sitting at the center of the entire space. The practice is to move from wanting to appreciating, not gratitude as a technique, but a genuine appreciation for desire itself, what it has shown you about who you are. Appreciation has no lack inside. It is the frequency of fullness. The fullness is what the field responds to with more of the same. So when we say this is enough, when we feel that contentment, there's an end to desire. Okay? So the secret is to ending desire is to find fulfillment in the moment, which is what, again, Thoreau was pointing us towards. How much are we aware? How much are we living fully, allowing this moment to be satisfying? Now, Bruce was pointing at exactly the paradox. The more you empty yourself of self, of desire, of craving, of I want, the bigger the container becomes. The bigger the container becomes, the more it's filled with life. The more I get out of the way, out of that egoic awareness, the more I settle into what we call witness consciousness. What Channy used to talk about is stepping back, letting go of those attachments to the present moment. Then the world floods in naturally, and I begin to appreciate everything that's in front of me. I see what is. I see what is, and I begin to live in what is.
Well, and what you said, I think part of Thoreau's quote was, I don't want to live
what
what's
is
not
life.
life.
Exactly. What is not life. So, let me see if I can find the backwards law. That hasn't left me too. Okay, here it is. So here's Thoreau's backwards law, and we'll close with this.
Actually, it says it was from Watts.
It's from, I meant Watts, yeah. Wanting positive experience is a negative experience. We'll deal with this more next week. Accepting negative experiences is a positive experience. And there's the two things. There's the link between the resistance of negative experience and the grasping after positive experiences. This is what Alan Watts called the backwards law, the idea that the more you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become. As pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. The more desperately you want to be rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel, regardless of how much money you make. The more desperately you want to be sexy and desired, the uglier you come to see yourself, regardless of your actual physical appearance. The more desperately you want to be happy and loved, the lonelier and more afraid you become, regardless of those who surround you. And the more you want to be spiritually enlightened, the more self-centered and shallow you become in trying to get there. Linnell and I have kind of made that something we refer to all the time. These are like touchstones. We must live in infinite expectation of the dawn. Only that day dawns to which we are awake. Wake up, wake up, wake up. First in the morning, wake up, wake up. And then the backward law. Let go of what you want because it's only going to make you unhappy. The desiring of it. Let go of what you're fighting. It's life. As our poet friend kept reminding us. So this week, I left my phone in New Hampshire last week and ended up on a bus, and it took us several days to get it. So I couldn't call you all. If I neglected you, it wasn't intentional. I come home to find out that a lizard has decided to crawl onto my printed circuit in my air conditioner and fry my air conditioner. Several $100s worth of repairs and no air conditioning in the 100-degree heat this week. And then my car decided to not start, and I came back with starting problems. All of which rolled into a rather magnificent week of getting to apply these teachings. So in your meditation today, try and catch the arising. So this is why the Buddha says that this middle layer that is eluding me today, that the first layer of consciousness is the awareness of the body. The second is that layer of discomfort or well-being. The layer of discomfort is what the Buddha calls dukkha. Something just doesn't feel right. And what causes that feeling of dissatisfaction of life is this emerging resistance to what's happening or attachment to something that isn't happening. This is a feeling state, and it's in your body, and it's where all suffering emerges. So in the Tibetan Buddhist wheel of diluted existence, there's a snake, which is the resistance to life, that anger, that lashing out at life. There is a boar or a pig, which is greed, wanting. And then there's a rooster on a dung heap, which is judgment, which is me going out and trying to control every moment based on my aversion or my attachment. So catching this, if we can catch this as a tightening in the body, we can deal with it much more effectively before it becomes a thought, because that's the next layer, are those habitual thoughts and habitual emotions that emerge out of this dissatisfaction. So these are fundamental practices of learning to sit not just with the bodily sensations, but with the energetic tone or feelings of the energy resisting as it passes through us. How are we as it resisting? How are we clinging to it? So have that, if you want, as the focus of your meditation. If not, just sit. First, establish your awareness of the breath. Awareness of the sensations generated in the body by the breath. Taking refuge here, body and the breath are always in the present moment. Not thinking the breath and the body. And when you don't think the body, it becomes a field of vibrational energy, activating the senses, the energy of life being experienced as a flow. Flow of sensations, of sound, proprioception, the feeling of your body, balancing, the flow of interoception, internal sense of the breath. This pressure, temperature, all the way the energy is being received, translated into something we can relate to. Allowing yourself to let go of understanding or thinking this process, trying to control it. Allow yourself to soften and ask, what is softening? What am I softening? And you begin to notice that you're softening resistances. You're softening, grasping after a different experience. Without judging that, begin to notice how that resistance and attachment arises naturally. And see if you can sit with that without going any further, without it making you do anything or think anything. Sit and breathe with it. And notice if you can allow it to be there, it will pass of its own impermanence. All righty. I think it's kind of important to realize that feeling. When I work with people and we meditate and I say, okay, open your eyes when you're ready, I realize it's a bad cue because they're not ready. And part of the reason that we're not ready to talk is because we're really in a place of contentment a lot of times at the end of our meditation. So that's where we find the meaning of the words. So pay attention to that place that you're not wanting to leave right now. When Brad and I would sit with the Savada, we wouldn't really have a formal ending. People would just kind of pop out of their meditations, and often, as I remember, we would go for an hour or so, and people would pop up and they'd open their eyes and everybody would stay quiet because people were still meditating. But everybody was grinning, just like we'd all been smoking pot or something. Someone would go in and make tea, and then eventually we'd start to talk. But that glow, that full, satisfied feeling is what this is all about. Carrying that off the cushion, off the mat, into our day, and seeing how long we can hold that before the bucket starts leaking, and then notice what causes it to leak. So what y'all got? Questions, comments?
This week, wait, someone else is talking, right?
No, you go ahead, honey, you started.
This week, the prayer of Francis of Assisi has been with me as a guideline. Y'all know that prayer, right? Make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there's injustice, pardon. And then grant that we would not seek to be consoled as to console, to be loved as to love, and to be understood as to understand. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we shall live. And I've tried to live that this week as much as I could.
It's as much a blueprint of what we've been studying as any other. Very concise, yeah. That's why it's lasted so long.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tiff?
I completely lost my train of thought with Corinne's beautiful. I did. I completely lost it. Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it won't.
Okay.
Well, I gotta say more. You know, when you there's these coincidences in life, and if you pay attention, I'm not saying that they're meant to be, but they do something to you. You know, you can look at things in a way of, wow, wasn't that just sweet that just happened right now? To get to that point that you're talking about, Bart, you know, that wholeness and that gentleness and that fullness, and you know, you see those things much more. Even if a lizard fries your air conditioner.
And now, the gory thing is that my insurance company is going to pay for it. I forgot to say that part, but I have to show them a picture of the fried lizard.
They'll only
to
pay
pr-
because
to-
it was a fried
an act
lizard.
of God and not the machine simply getting old. So, someday we're going to
Whoa.
become a trusting society again.
Oh, now you have to be kind of a pervert and photograph a fried lizard.
Yeah.
Gross.
Post it on the dark web for all those lizard necrophiliacs.
Oh, God.
My
Manuel que tú estabas
stigmata
que
is
era de los
bleeding
tuyos.
again. Kamali, did you have something? Okay. Thought someone was talking. Hey, Dorothy.
What happened to your hand, Bart?
I have no idea. It's the stigmata bread.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you.
You don't know what happened? Oh.
No, I just looked down and he was dripping blood.
Hmm.
Way to go.
Well, thank you. It's my superpower.
You know, the teaching today is reminding me very, very much of my dad and his constant echoing in my head. Yoga off the mat, Tiffany,
Right.
off the mat. You know, how long can you stay in that place? And what is it that triggers you?
Mm-hmm.
And man, I don't stay there very long.
That's all of us, that if we're honest. And as a
But
matter
the
of
awareness you learn
Yes.
on the
Yes.
mat. So
that's one of the dangers for those of you who are in the intermediate stages, is that at first you're not aware that you're doing this stuff. So that's that unconscious dysfunction. Then you become conscious of the dysfunction by actually trying to hold something still for a while. Then you begin to realize how restless the mind is. And there's really a point, it's like I love when people get into recovery. Everything they're doing is sick. It's disease. Oh, that's my disease. This is that. They do their inventories and they're just one negative thing after another. They forget the inventory should have some positive qualities too. But no, all the focus is on what's wrong. And I'm never going to get healthy. Well, that's not what's going on. What's going on is that you're as unhealthy as you're ever going to be when you first drop in. You need to look at the daily progress that you make. That's what esteeming yourself means. It means I'm glad that that thing that I normally would have done, I didn't do, and that's major. We just blow that off, but that's the whole point. Or those baby steps that begin to build, and then pretty soon we begin to see little longer patches of being peaceful or being content. And then those begin to have less disruption. They begin to get a little tighter. And then being in that place becomes more our default state.
I think what's been really most, I want to use the word enlightening. I don't know if that's, I think what's been most profound for me is recognizing my ego in there. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Tiffany, like, what is that about? Like, really, what the fuck?
It's just old wounds. It's just conditioned responses before we're awake, had control. It's what you've done. The neuroscience today says you are what you've repeated, period. So we tend to think that there's an intention behind it. And in AA, we say, not a single person in this room said, you know what I think I'll be when I grow up? I think I'll be an alcoholic. No one of us ever had that intention. I think I'll become a drug addict. No. I think I'll become controlling. No. I think I'll become a people pleaser. No, we don't have those thoughts. We respond to our environment in terms of repulsion and attraction.
And what we've done in the past.
And how many of those things have become habitual enough to be locked in and reinforced in our body. You can see pictures on the internet. Watch a neural pathway being formed. Watch the true neuron sitting like this, and then there's a little that goes along, and it leaves a little tiny protein track. And then go again, then and each time the protein track gets thicker and thicker and thicker until it's a hard wire. No longer needs a neurotransmitter. Now they're wired to each other. That's all you are. And we tend to identify with all of these things, these thoughts, these habitual reactions and actions that we have as me. No, you are not you. You're what's sitting outside watching the shit show happen. And when you begin to get up here and go at the level of witness consciousness, you begin to have that capacity Thoreau was talking about to actually shape your day. Here's an invitation to go off the track. No, I think I'll respectfully decline. Thank you, though. And that's that compassion. It's not, we've got so much that sin creeps in, that this is about sin and unworthiness, and that I'm somehow going to be cast out by the universe because I'm doing. No, none of that shit's going to happen. You do this because we're hardwired, programmed to do it. It just doesn't work. So if you begin to use Eastern terms of it's just not skillful, it doesn't get me where I want to go, then you just kind of let it go. Yeah, I could do that, but not going to get me anywhere. Waste energy.
You are such an incredible gift, Bart.
Thank you.
No, I mean it. I wish that you knew. I wish that there was a way for me to express to both of you what you have meant to me.
Well, and
Truly, I mean, really.
But the circuit gets completed with comments like that, dear. What you have to realize is that there's two aspects to a calling. One is that you feel like you have something to say, and the other is that there are people who actually want to hear it. So that's the blessing back. Yeah, Tom.
You remind me, number one, you remind me that that's why I call meditation a practice. Excuse me. And number two, going back to earlier, you mentioned softening. And that's one of the things that I take off the yoga mat into life. And not only physically being able to soften, but mentally. Softening is a practice also.
It's at this level, as I said, that layer is called Vedana. It's a Pali word, Vedana. I'm going to see if I can find a Sanskrit equivalent to it. But a couple of weeks ago, we used that it's the second level of awareness in the Buddhist teachings. So,
Bart.
Vedana. Dana. It's like Vedanta, but without the ta.
It does say it's Pali and Sanskrit,
And
meaning sensation or feeling tone.
Yeah, feeling tone. And the funny thing about this too is that when you do energy work, because I'm an energy worker, everybody's energy is different. Everybody has a different flavor, has a different feeling tone. And so it's not really woo-woo. You resonate a certain energy. We can measure now the energy that comes off, that your heart energy projects 10 feet out from your body, your aura. That's what you're really beginning to tune into, Hans. I really think in terms of the koshas and that complex interaction between the chakras and the koshas, and how that's distributed through the nadis, the little channels throughout the body. I really think that whole functioning of the energy and our sensing of that energy, which comes, it's why we call it the subtle body. We've got the harder physical sensations, but then we can also begin to tune into those subtle movements, which I've been kind of delicately trying to point us towards over the past year and a half, because to talk about it, it becomes a thought and it gets harder to actually experience. But to begin to feel the deliciousness, the guy who turned me on to this was Eckhart Tolle. They asked him, "Do you meditate all day long?" He said, "No, I don't." "Well, what do you do?" He says, "I feel the energy in my body." I am so grateful for that statement. Nobody says that shit. What is your cat doing? What is your dog doing? They're just marinating in all the delicious energies that is going on around them, and then they get directed to the sunbeam over there, and then they're going to go over there, and they're being moved by the energy around them. We're finding that your DNA literally is plastic. It's being shaped by the energy coming into your body, and that your fascia are these coils of liquid crystals that are moving, expanding, and contracting throughout your body as you move. Yoga really puts us in tune with those things, and so there's this banquet of sensations and energy going on inside of you that is as rich and interesting and complex as what's happening with your external senses. And I like that idea of marinating in energy, marinating in the energy of this group. I say, why wouldn't you go to a 12-step meeting? Why wouldn't you go to yoga? What a delicious pot of energy to marinate in, to be cooked in. Yeah. That's a shop for more. I mean, not in the greedy sense, but just in terms of opening up and letting more in. Yeah.
And I think, one of the words that I use to talk about some of this is when we've had these experiences where we put ourselves in a box or make ourselves narrow, is a contraction.
Yes.
And when we start, and that contraction, in a sense, makes us not physically, but energetically small.
Yes.
And when we start tapping into this sensations, then we realize that we're not more than, we're just claiming our wholeness that's already there. I go back to what Bruce was saying earlier, is we make our glass bigger. And you also reemphasize that, Bart, is we've put ourselves in small glasses because our mind begins to create judgment. And the thing is, if we learn from it, there's nothing that we've ever done that was wrong. We're just cleaning up, we put these labels on ourselves. We put these labels on our acts about something, and all it is a learning experience, and it opens us from that place where we thought we needed to be contracted to being the expansive wholeness of who we are.
Yeah. And that's when you expand into your true body, it's the fucking universe, people. That's your outline, and that's what we don't realize. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's why I love the Marianne Williamson poem about it doesn't serve the universe to make yourself small. Yes.
I am bigger than
I am bigger than I ever thought. Who was that?
Walt Whitman, maybe?
Yeah, I think it is.
There's a line in a John Mayer
saying,
song.
that saying in recovery, you can start your day over anytime.
Right. Take a mulligan. Yeah.
Start over.
There's a line in a John Mayer song that says, "I'm bigger than my body gives me credit for."
Yeah.
Yep. So just these are not thoughts to be thought. These are experiences to be awakened to. Whoa. Yeah. And given significance to. The problem is that our culture gives no significance to sitting and feeling your energy all day. What a transvaluation it takes. How'd you do today? Oh shit, man. I spent about 7 hours just marinating in my energy. Great, honey. I didn't get a goddamn thing done. Wonderful. It's the best day ever. Oh, well, that's almost out, sugar.
Okay. Or almost in.
Or almost
something.
in. That's just home. Whatever
All
that
right.
Deep
looks like
breath in.
to do today.
Wow. Love you all.
Love
Love
you.
Thank you.
you,
Thank
Tasha. Good
you.
to see you.
Thank
How'd
you
your
for
class
everything.
go?
Love you guys. Love you, Drew. I'll call you this week. Mwah. Bye,
Pardon?
y'all.
Tasha,
Thank
how'd
you,
your
Bart
class
and
go?
Darnell. Very good job. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Brad.
I still didn't hear what she said fully.
How'd your class go?
Well, I just came back from a 7-day retreat. It was an amazing retreat. We actually spent 2 days in social silence.
Mm.
And there was like 20 of us there. There was 30 people online. But I mean, we were in this just amazing place in Taos, and we would have our regular classes, but the teacher would guide us. We could ask questions, but otherwise we were in social silence. And it was such an amazing time.
Yeah,
Lovely.
Yeah,
good
yeah,
for you.
Yeah.
yeah. Great retreat.
Art's looking at my face and I'm going, Yeah.
So how are you feeling physically?
I'm feeling much better. My voice is getting stronger. I've got a new speech therapist, and she thinks I can have full voice back in about 2 to 3 weeks with doing all these exercises. She was able to identify what part of the vocal cords were damaged, and so she's helping to rebuild those. So that's,
Wow.
but
Wonderful.
otherwise I'm doing great.
Yeah,
You,
that's great.
you sound much more normal, Hans.
Thank you.
You
Thank
can
you.
tell. You can tell
Yeah.
your voice.
Yeah.
And I haven't even spoke yet this morning because of living alone. I don't speak until I have to.
Blessing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We both spend 3 days apart from each other, and when I'm in Shreveport,
Mm.
I'm silent the whole time. I love it.
Yeah.
Good. Glad to have you back there.
Thank you. It's good being back.
Good to be back. Bye, Cherry.